Have you ever heard of Caedmon, the earliest recorded English poet? Well, if you haven't, then get ready to be blown away by his incredible talent and divine inspiration. Caedmon was an illiterate cowherd who worked at monastery in 7th century England, but he went to become one of the most important figures in history of English literature. How did he do it? Through a dream that inspired him to compose a hymn of praise to God that has captivated audiences for centuries. In this video, we will be exploring the world of Caedmon and his hymn, examining its language, structure, and poetic technique, and uncovering the secrets of its enduring appeal. So get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and entertained as we will delve into the fascinating world of Caedmon hymn. Let's go! Caedmon was an Anglo-Saxon poet who lived in 7th century. He is known for being the earliest recorded English poet. The story of Caedmon is told in the Historia Ecclesiastica Gentis Anglorum, written by the Venerable Bede, a medieval English monk and historian. According to the Bede's account, Caedmon was an illiterate cowherd who worked at the monastery of Whitby in northern England. One night, while he was sleeping in the barn, he had a dream in which he heard a voice asking him to sing. Caedmon replied that he didn't know how to sing, but the voice insisted, saying, "Sing to me the beginning of the created things." In the dream, Caedmon found himself able to compose and sing a hymn in praise of God's creation. When he woke up, he remembered the words of the hymn and added more verses to it, and played with the Anglo-Saxon layer. By the way, if you want to know about Anglo-Saxon's literature and history, check the description for a link I'll put there, or check my videos in my channel. Caedmon went to the abbess of the monastery, who was impressed with his talent and encouraged him to continue writing religious poetry. He was inspired, even though he had never experienced writing poetry before. It was like a miracle. Interestingly, something similar happened to the Islamic prophet Muhammad in a cave named Hira in Saudi Arabia. According to Islamic historian, he heard a voice commanding him to read something, but he replied that he could not read as he was illiterate. The voice repeated its command, and as a result, the first verses of Quran were revealed to him in the year 610 CE in the cave of Hira. According to Islam, the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad gradually over a period of 23 years. Returning to Caedmon, Caedmon went on to compose many more poems, which were praised for their beauty and devotion. His work was influential in the development of English religious poetry, and he is considered a significant figure in the history of English literature. Although none of Caedmon's original poems survive, the story has been passed down through the centuries and continues to be celebrated as an example of divine inspiration and creative talent. Caedmon's hymn is considered one of the earliest surviving examples of English poetry, and is also known as the Hymn of Creation or the Song of Caedmon. The poem is a hymn of praise to God and describes the creation of the world in a series of vivid images. It begins with the lines, "Now we must honor the guardian of heaven, the might of the architect, and his purpose, the work of Father of glory, as he, the eternal Lord, established the beginning of wonders." The hymn goes on to describe the creation of the earth, the sky, and the sea, as well as the sun, moon, and the stars. It also praises God's power and wisdom and asks for his protection and guidance. The exact text of Caedmon's hymn has been lost, but it is known from a Latin translation made by the Venerable Bede. The influence of Caedmon's hymn on English literature has been significant. It helped to establish a tradition of religious poetry in the English language and inspired later poets such as Beowulf and the author of Beowulf. The hymn also continues to be celebrated as an example of the power of divine inspiration and the beauty of English language. Let's look closer to the Caedmon's hymn and figure out why it is a remarkable poem. 1. Structure and form. Caedmon's hymn is an alliterative poem, which means that each line is composed of two half-lines, with the stressed syllables alliterating. The poem has a simple and regular structure, with each half-line containing two stressed syllables and a varying number of unstressed syllables. This structure gives the poem a musical quality that is well suited to its subject matter. 2. Religious theme. The poem is a hymn of praise to God and describes the creation of the world as an act of divine power and wisdom. The poem's religious theme is evidenced in its language and imagery, which are drawn from the Bible and other religious texts. For example, the opening lines of the poem echo the language of Psalm 111. Praise ye the Lord. I will praise the Lord with my whole heart, in the assembly of the upright, and in the congregation. 3. Vivid imagery. The poem is filled with vivid images of the natural world, such as the creation of the earth, the spacious ground, the sky, the roof of the heavens, the sea, the salt flood. These images are described in a way that is both grand and intimate, conveying a sense of wonder and reverence for God's creation. 4. Poetic technique. Caedmon's use of poetic technique is also noteworthy. He employs repetition, parallelism, and metaphors throughout the poem to create sense of rhythm and unity. For example, the repetition of the phrase, He the Eternal Lord, emphasizes God's eternal nature and power. The use of parallelism in lines such as brightest of beacons blaze in the night creates a sense of balance and harmony. Caedmon's influence on English literature is primary due to the fact that he was one of the earliest known poets to write in the English language. His poems were written in the Old English language, which was spoken in England during the Anglo-Saxon period. Caedmon's poetry was primarily religious in nature and focused on the Christian faith. His works were influential in shaping the religious literature of the period and helped to establish a tradition of religious poetry in the English language. Later poets such as Beowulf and the author of Beowulf were influenced by Caedmon's work and continued to write in the same tradition. The religious poetry of the Anglo-Saxon period had a profound influence on the development of English literature and helped to lay the foundation for the later works such as the works of Chaucer and Shakespeare. And that, my friends, is the incredible story of Caedmon and in his hymn. From a simple cowherd to one of the greatest poets in the English history, Caedmon's journey is a testament to the power of divine inspiration and the enduring legacy of creative expression. His hymn, with its beautiful language, vivid imagery, and religious themes, has inspired generations of poets, writers, and readers, and continues to do so today. So, whether you're a lover of poetry, a student of literature, or simply someone who appreciates the beauty of English language, we hope this video has given you a newfound appreciation for the incredible talent of Caedmon and the enduring power of his hymn. Thank you for watching and keep exploring the amazing world of English literature. Bye!